Most people are obsessed with money, but they're ignoring the one thing that actually creates it. Your bank account is not a reflection of your hard work. It's a reflection of your skill level. And right now, the uncomfortable truth is this: if you're not earning what you want, it's not because the world is unfair. It's because you're still the same person with the same abilities. The second you change your skills, the world is forced to change what it pays you. Your bank account is not a scoreboard of your worth. It is a delayed reflection of your preparation. And every dollar inside it is echoing decisions you made months or years ago, not what you did this morning. And people sit staring at their balance, treating it like a verdict, when it is really just feedback. And feedback on how much time was invested in learning, improving, failing, and trying again. And if your numbers are low, it does not mean you are doomed. It means your inputs were small or inconsistent, and you can work 14 hours a day. But if those hours don't sharpen a valuable ability, they won't change your future. And hard work without skill is like running on a treadmill that is not even plugged in. And it may feel exhausting, but it is not moving you closer to what you want. And skills are the engine behind money. And without that engine, effort stays stuck in place. And once you understand this, you stop blaming the world and start upgrading yourself, and look at the people who earn more than you and strip away the envy and intimidation. And under the lifestyle and the confidence, there is a stack of painful repetitions and uncomfortable growth. And they learned to sell when it felt unnatural. They learned to lead when they were scared. They learned to fail publicly. And they paid for their skill set with time, attention, and humiliation long before they ever touched real revenue. And you only see the polished version, the highlight reel, the final scene of a long process. And what you don't see is the boring practice, the late nights, the brutal self-awareness. And that is the invisible training that makes their bank account look magical. And when you compare your early chapter to someone else's final chapter, you will always feel behind. But when you compare the skill level required, the math suddenly makes painful sense. And income grows in direct proportion to the problems you are capable of solving. And most people try to find shortcuts, but shortcuts only cut away skill development. And if you avoid the learning curve, you also avoid the level that comes after it. And there is no hack that replaces repetition, no secret that replaces discipline. And you can't buy your way to competence. And you cannot fake your way to mastery. And every industry, every craft, every opportunity demands payment in the form of learning. And that payment is made in frustration, in confusion, and in looking bad before looking good. And people quit too early because they mistake discomfort for inability. And discomfort is actually the signal that growth is happening, that the mind is being stretched. And if you feel lost, overwhelmed, or slow, it does not mean you are failing. And it means you are in the exact place where valuable people are made. And when skills increase, confidence becomes natural, not forced. And you no longer need motivation from videos, quotes, or other people's success stories. And your confidence comes from evidence, from the quiet knowledge of what you can now do. And that confidence changes how you speak, how you negotiate, how you walk into a room. And people can sense confidence even before you open your mouth. And that is why skilled individuals attract better opportunities without chasing them. And the world is constantly searching for value, and skill is the loudest signal of value. And once you carry that signal, money becomes a secondary consequence. And it arrives because you are useful, capable, and hard to replace. And this is why focusing on the skill is the only strategy that never fails. And stop asking how to make more money and start asking what to learn next. And shift your daily focus from earning activities to learning activities. And books, mentors, practice mistakes, feedback, and uncomfortable challenges become your new currency. And every hour spent improving your mind compounds like interest that never stops growing. And even when you sleep, your mind restructures itself around the new knowledge you absorbed. And while others are watching, you are becoming. And while others are hoping, you are building. And over time, the gap becomes impossible to ignore. And not because you were luckier, but because you were more deliberate about improvement. And that is how a simple principle quietly turns ordinary people into powerful earners. You are not underpaid, you are underskilled. And that truth hits harder than any insult ever could. And it strips away the comfort of excuses and replaces it with responsibility that no one can carry but you. And every time you say you deserve more, the real question is, what more can you actually do? And what problems can you solve that others cannot? And how valuable are those problems in the real world? And the market does not care about your intentions, your effort, or your potential. And it only pays for demonstrated ability and proven results. And if your current skills are common, your pay will be common as well. And if your output is average, your rewards will follow the exact same pattern. And this is not unfair. It is simply how value is measured and exchanged. And then once you accept this, you finally gain the power to change it. And most people live with the illusion that loyalty should be enough. And they show up, do the bare minimum, and wait for someone to notice. And they confuse time spent with value created and presence with performance. And years go by, frustration grows, and blame shifts to the boss. the company, or the economy. But the uncomfortable truth remains untouched and unexamined. And if you disappeared tomorrow, how hard would it be to replace you? And if the answer is not very, then the math has already explained your salary. And replacement difficulty determines compensation more accurately than any job title ever will, and become harder to replace. And your income is forced to rise and stay easy to replace, and you stay negotiable in the worst way. And instead of asking for raises, start asking for challenges that stretch you. And instead of demanding recognition, start delivering undeniable results, and make yourself so effective that ignoring you becomes a business risk. And that level of importance does not come from talking. It comes from practicing, and you practice communication by doing it badly until it becomes sharp. And you practice leadership by making decisions that scare you at first. You practice problem solving by voluntarily stepping into problems others avoid. And each uncomfortable move is a deposit into your future value. And each mistake is not proof of failure, but proof of expansion. And skill is built through pressure, just like muscle is built through resistance. And the world rewards those who take full ownership of their outcomes. And if you earn little, you do not look outward, you look inward. And you examine where you are weak and choose to confront it head on. And this level of honesty is rare. And that is why high skill is rare. And most people protect their ego at the cost of their future. And they would rather feel right than become better. But growth only happens when pride is put on the floor. And when you admit you are not enough yet, you give yourself permission to evolve. And that evolution is what separates earners from wishers. And it is what draws the line between stagnation and acceleration. And once your skills improve, your environment begins to shift around you. And better conversations enter your life because you can now add more to them. And bigger opportunities appear because you are finally able to handle them. And higher standards become normal because you are now capable of meeting them. And what once felt out of reach becomes part of your baseline reality. And this is not magic. It is alignment between ability and reward. And you stop feeling like you are chasing money and start feeling like money is chasing usefulness, and people seek you out, not because you are lucky, but because you are reliable. And that is the real currency in every industry and every market. And it all starts with admitting that being underskilled is not an insult, but an invitation. Learning is work, and most people don't want to treat it that way. And they want results without the repetition, growth without the discomfort, progress without the process. And they romanticize the idea of earning while ignoring the discipline that makes earning inevitable. And truthfully, learning is harder than most jobs because no one is forcing you to do it. And there is no boss standing over your shoulder, no deadline that threatens your position. And it is self-imposed pressure that only the serious are willing to endure. And your mind resists it because learning exposes your gaps and your ignorance. And it forces you to confront what you do not know and what you cannot yet do. And that confrontation hurts, but it is also where power begins to form. And every skill you admire in others was born in that exact discomfort. And people chase money like it is the ultimate prize, but money is the side effect. And it is the receipt you get for the value you have learned how to produce. And if you focus on the receipt without focusing on the value, you stay broke in every sense. And no amount of dreaming replaces the hours of deliberate practice. And you can visualize success all you want, but ability is built through action. And that action looks boring, repetitive, and unimpressive from the outside. And it is the same movement, the same study, the same effort applied again and again. And most quit because there are no immediate rewards for that level of discipline. But the few who stay are quietly becoming someone the world will later pay. And they are stacking invisible wins that will convert into visible success. And in a world addicted to instant gratification, learning feels slow and unrewarding. And scrolling gives dopamine, entertainment gives distraction, complaining gives validation. But none of those things give skill. And skill is built in silence, in focus, in long stretches of intentional effort. And it grows when you choose a book over a screen and practice over comfort. And it strengthens when you try, fail, adjust, and try again without applause. And the brain is shaped by what you ask it to repeatedly do. And if you ask it to waste time, it becomes excellent at wasting time. And if you ask it to solve problems and create value, it becomes powerful. And your daily habits are writing your future without asking your permission. And real learners separate themselves by their willingness to be bad at something. And they accept that looking foolish is a temporary stage, not a final identity. And they raise their hand, speak up, try new things even when their voice shakes. And each attempt removes a layer of fear and adds a layer of strength. And over time, that courage compounds and becomes confidence. And eventually, what once terrified them becomes simple, even boring. And that is the moment the world begins to see them as talented. But talent is just a label for someone who practiced longer than others endure. And behind every natural, there is a mountain of hidden effort. And behind every successful earner is a relentless learner. And if you are spending more time trying to make money than to become better, you are inverted. And you are trying to harvest from a garden you refuse to plant. And learning demands patience. And patience is a trait most people never master. and they want transformation on a deadline, growth on a schedule, success by Friday. But the mind and body do not respond to urgency. They respond to consistency, and consistency is quiet, unglamorous, and misunderstood by the masses. And yet it is the only force strong enough to bend reality over time. And every day you show up to learn, you are voting for your future self. And those votes eventually outnumber your old habits and old limitations. And that is when earning becomes automatic instead of something you must chase. Skills outlive circumstances, and that is why they matter more than money ever will. And money can be lost, stolen, inflated away, or spent on things that leave you empty again. And skills, on the other hand, stay welded to your mind and embedded in your habits. And they cannot be taken at gunpoint, erased by a market crash, or deleted by a bad decision. And when you build a skill, you are not just increasing your income potential, and you are increasing your problem-solving power, your resilience, and your independence. And you are creating an internal asset that follows you into every room and every opportunity, and even in complete uncertainty, skills give you an unfair psychological advantage. And you know that no matter what happens, you can rebuild. And that quiet certainty is worth more than any number in a bank account. And money grows in a straight line, but skills grow in curves and leaps. And one new ability can unlock 10 new doors you didn't even know existed. And learning how to communicate better multiplies every relationship you touch. And learning how to sell improves every product, service, or idea you believe in. And learning how to lead makes people trust you with bigger responsibilities. And each skill stacks on top of the previous one, creating a powerful compound effect. And this compounding is invisible at first, which is why most people give up too early. And they do not realize that the biggest results often come after the longest silence. And by the time others notice, the gap is already massive. And then that gap is built not by luck, but by layers of learned ability. And there is a deep sense of freedom that comes from being highly skilled. And you stop clinging to jobs, to people, and to unstable sources of security. And you know you can walk away and rebuild wherever you go. And that freedom changes how you negotiate, how you choose, and how you live. And you are no longer desperate, and desperation is what makes people cheap. And instead, you are selective, calm, and clear about your own value. And that self-awareness alters the way others treat you as well. And they approach you with respect because you carry respect for yourself. And skills do not just improve your income, they improve your identity. And you begin to see yourself as someone capable, not just someone surviving. And most people store their hope in external things, and they trust the economy, the company, the partner, or the timing. But anything external can change without warning. And when hope lives only outside of you, you live in fear. And skills move that hope inward, placing it firmly in your own hands. And no matter where you go or what happens, you are still you. And a skilled you is a powerful, adaptable, and valuable person. And this inner stability cannot be bought or borrowed. And it must be built slowly and intentionally over time. And that is why skill building is the ultimate form of self-respect. And so instead of obsessing over how much you have right now, obsess over how much you are becoming. And invest in learning the way others invest in stocks, property, and trends. And choose depth over distraction, practice over comfort, mastery over mediocrity. And commit to being a lifelong student of anything that can make you more useful. And because usefulness is the true foundation of wealth in every era. And the more you can do, the more you can earn, and the more you can create. And in creation is the highest form of financial and personal power. And you are not here just to consume the world. You are here to contribute to it and build your skills like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. And when the world finally looks at your success, let it be obvious that it started with what you chose to learn.